the best way possible. The name is Law Nation. Really appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, share this content, rub the notification bell, give you good luck. Give you good luck throughout the day. All right, we're going to set things right the best way possible. Let's go. Turn me up. There's a certain receiver out there requested a trade, a pickup of an opportunity. We got the draft right around the corner. They say good things come to those who wait. Let's see if this can happen for us. Let's go. All right. Really appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in. The name is Law Nation. I hope that you guys are having a beautiful and wonderful day. As news come through today, we all know, we heard the news of Deebo Samuel, who loved the Cowboys, who also want to play for the Cowboys, requested a trade. And that's all who've been hitting me up. Law, Nation, Law, should we go and grab a Deebo since he is seeking trade? Now, there's two ways we can look at this, Cowboy Nation. One being that Deebo is a dynamic wide receiver / running back. I think they call him a wide back. That's what they call him, right? Two being that it would probably work well with this particular system. Probably. That's the operative word, probably. Three being we got a hole at wide receiver, and some people can argue that we created the hole. We created the hole at wide receiver. Shout out to Michael Gallup. He's back for, I think, at least 4 or 5 more years with us, give or take, depending on how he operate and play out there on the field, right? But he would not be ready week 1. He would not be ready week 2. He would not be ready week 3. He would not be ready week 4. You guys see what I'm coming with that? And on top of that, as it relates to this information here, the Dallas Cowboys with Amari Cooper, they cut him to save money. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, from a level of productivity or production that you're looking for out of a wide receiver, you have to fall back just a little bit and say to yourself, Amari Cooper, even with the limited amount of targets, passer rating when targeting Amari Cooper was 122. The nuanced route running, the ability that he brings to the table, the safety over the top, rolling Amari Cooper's way, and getting the number one defense, number one DB on said team to cover him. Freeing up CeeDee Lamb, freeing up Dalton Schultz, who we paid $11 million to for a franchise tag year. Hopefully we can come up with an agreement to go ahead and give this man a longer deal so we won't hit that $11 million hit. But that's story of a different day. Here's the thing. The Cowboys, if you look at my screenshot right here, you see that guy in the middle, Treylon Burks? Yeah, you see him? He's equivalent to what a Deebo could bring to the table. Not far as production as of his rookie year, but he's a whole lot cheaper. My thing is, when you look at Deebo Samuel, I like his skill set. I like his temperaments. I love his mind, right? But this is the thing we can't fall into the traps for. Hear me out, Cowboy Nation. Being impatient. You know, I always tell people with this saying, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. But one of the key ingredients in that whole stanza is this next line right here. If you can wait and not get tired by waiting. And I know I can hear somebody yelling right now, hey, Law Nation, it's been 27 years. I really want for us to go pull the trigger on Deebo. Deebo, we really want you to pull the trigger, Law, like it's coming out of my pockets, right? But it's not. And let me find my deal right here. Appreciate everybody for watching and tuning in. But here's the thing. The Cowboys got to be patient. They got to understand that the draft is right around the corner. And on top of that, here we go. Let's see, I can see your comments there. Here we go. Follow me. Follow me, Cowboy Nation. Follow me. And thank everybody for jumping in. This information that I'm about to tell you, that this particular draft could be just like this in the next 3 to 4 years. You banging on the table saying, dog, you should have picked up Alex Pierce, right? Dog, did you check out Bo Milton's tape, right? How can the world teams pass up on him? A David Bell, Calvin Austin with the K or the C, both of those guys, any one of those guys, right? George Pickens, oh my goodness, a dog mentality. Right? There are a lot of wide receivers that's in this draft class. They can get your mind out of the A.J. Browns, the D.K. Metcalfs, and I get it. Those boys want their paper. They want their bag. Scary Terry. He wasn't scary when he played against us, by the way. But Scary Terry. Right? Bo Melton is not better than James Washington. This is my guy, Madman. You know, shout out to you. Thank you for jumping in. But you got to give him a shot. You got to give him a chance. And you for dogs, you're not going to draft him in the second round, right? But if you get him for a late sneaker and then you put him on this team, then you can work with that. You can work with it. Don't paint yourself into the corner with these guys on the outside. The core of winning the football game is, like I said earlier this morning, down in the trenches. Get you a guard that can help out this team. Get back to running the rock. The Cowboys have a more favorable winning percentage when you run the rock. The Cowboys historically been better when you run the rock. And that is the reality of it. 5th round, Law, I mean, if you go give it with Bo Melton in the 5th. But you know what would help this team out? If you get a Jelani in the 5th versus Bo, right? See how this thing works? And how do Jelani Woods, for those who don't know, right? Like, you got Isaiah Likely. What I want this team to do, pump the brakes on the flash, pump the brakes on the sauces that everybody see out there as far as wide receiver play. Pump the brakes on even Jarvis Landry. I know he's visiting the New Orleans Saints. He should be signed by them by the end of this, before the draft or a little after the draft. But pump the brakes on all of those things, right? And pay attention. Like I mentioned, like I lamented earlier this morning. Ezekiel Elliott and the whole offensive line and everybody for the first 6 games or such, they was running the rock good. They were, let me see if I can pull it. The Cowboys were 3rd in rushing. Now, I get it. Some people are going to say, well, look at the level of competition that you play. You can only play the schedule that's given, right? But what changed? What happened when we went on a downward spiral? Oh, this what happened, Law. This what happened. Musical chairs with the offensive line. Look, the offensive line is the only unit that everybody have to be on the same page. Everyone must sing from the same hymnal. No one can go rogue, right? It's a battle fest. It's a mentality philosophy. And you can say, okay, I got Zach Martin. I have Terrence Steele, who's going to be at right tackle. Those are two solids on that side. Oh, Tyler Biadasz. What he can do going into his, this will be his third year, right? Technically his second. How can I improve that? Okay, the big hole at guard. Maybe a Zion Johnson, maybe a Kenyon Green. But you got to get those picks early. You can't wait to the third quarter saying, the third round and say, I'm going to get my guard situation. No, you can't wait. It'll be too late. You'll be flat out too late. Cowboys got to take their time with this. Build this thing the right way. The endless options or opportunities at wide receiver will always be there. And when you look at it for $28 million APY, that's a lot of money. Now, Deebo Samuel, this is from R.J. Ochoa. Appreciate him. He put up this right here. This is Deebo. Man, you look awesome wearing the silver with the star on your helmet. This is some guy, Shane, _2104, when he reached out to Deebo and he actually shared it, So it is what it is at this point. I do like the notion for that, but I don't like the price tag for that. Dallas won't trade for a player that's looking to get a big-time contract. So don't expect them to move for Deebo Samuel. No, I wouldn't expect that. And this was a video of our guy that played for this team last year.
Dallas for you to stay, or did you want a new chapter?
I mean, it's not like I dislike being in Dallas. I actually love being there, So, I wouldn't say I just wanted to leave. But, at the same time, it's never personal, it's just business, and that's part of the business of being in this league. Things like that happen all the time. Players get cut, players get traded. There's no player in the league who's still in the league from 30 years ago, so it all comes to an end at some point. And so, with that said, I am excited about this new chapter, and like I said before, I embrace it. I look forward to the future here.
Dallas for you to stay, or did you want to?
So that was Amari Cooper speaking to the Cleveland Browns on their particular media day, what have you. And basically he said, I would love to stay for the Cowboys, right? And it wasn't nothing personally. And the Cowboys, man, ever since we got rid of a Cooper, they've been going through some lot of woes in this off season. And I've been banging on the table saying, dog, I can't wait for this draft to come around, because then the draft will spark up new opportunities for us to have different type of positive thoughts about this team, right? The new ability, the new possibility of saying to yourself, okay, these are expectations. This would happen with this guy. And then you can start formulating your team. Around this time last year, you didn't know that you would have a Michael Parsons, right? You didn't know that you would be able to get a person of that kind of caliber on this team. And you didn't think that this team would move from the 30th ranked defense all the way down to the 12th ranked defense, be the number one in takeaways, right? And the best flat out team on third down defense. You didn't think of those things. Last year it was doom and gloom, right? They were literally banging on the table saying that the Washington, at the time, football team, now they are the Commodes. Oh, I'm sorry. Washington, what's the name of them? That Washington team, what's the name of it? Washington Commanders. They were saying that that's the best defense since the 85 Bears. Let me know if I'm lying, right? They saying that, man, now all they need is a quarterback. And even with Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Fitztragic, however you want to call it, or Fitzmagic. Yeah, that was the name they was calling him. Saying that he would be the best quarterback coming out of the NFC East. Those people, you can't find them, right? You like, look, where you at? And that's all they were said. I said all of what Washington did Last year, well, that year leading into this past season, with their historically best defense and our historically worst defense, all they did was won one more game than us, you know. And I told everybody, I said, yeah, just sit back and watch. Watch the Cowboys come out victorious, right? And speaking of that, we will have the round table, the NFC East round table tomorrow. So I want you guys to come out and represent. SG says Coop saved Dak. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I believe when we look at wide receivers and you look at quarterback exchange, one works with the other. They do. I don't know what Troy would have looked like without Michael Irvin. I don't know what Jim Kelly would have looked like without Andre Reed. Joe Montana without Jerry Rice, right? The only wide receiver that's been missing to a team that won multiple Super Bowls, you can argue Tom Brady, right? You can't go down the list of names and say, hey, man, that was a dynamic wide receiver Tommy had. No. But he did have Gronk for multiple Super Bowls and a stellar defense. So when I said, and I mentioned this earlier, yeah, and shout out to Miche. I can't wait to see what he get drafted to as well. I kind of like Miche just coming out of the draft. But what I want to tell people, that there are no such thing as a quarterback carrying the team. I know that sounds like a good flavor of ice cream when you listen to it and say, yeah, you know, this quarterback carried the team. And I told people on my Twitter, let's go to that too. I told people on my Twitter, oh, that's me. Get off of me. Let's stroll down. I've been very active today. Oh, Michael Parsons says, turn it up, Coop. You see that love and adulation is still there. I said, name me one quarterback that can carry the team. And I should have said all the way to the Super Bowl. Not just a game. There's none. There's absolutely none. The quarterback can't throw the ball to himself. And people going back and forth saying Aaron Rodgers carried the Green Bay. And I said, bull sugar. It was the third-ranked defense last year, right? And Devontae Adams is no one to sneeze at, and Aaron Jones, he's not no average running back. Sixth-ranked offense. And, of course, you can give all of the credit to Aaron Rodgers. But he carried them, I guess, enough to go to the playoffs to get the first exit out of the playoff on home field advantage, throwing at 18.9 QBR, right? So no quarterback can carry a team. This football is the ultimate team game. Look, my guy Andre Jackson says QBs carrying teams is a myth. All QBs need help to win, and that is a fact. That's why I hearted it. You know, let me just reshare that right there. Yeah, reshare that tweet right there. So I don't want you guys to look at this thing and say, well, you don't need weapons for a quarterback, right? You don't. Greg Berry says, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for jumping in and tuning in. Yeah, appreciate you. He says, yeah, Tom Brady filming opponents' practices, yeah. And that's a whole another story. Madman says 8 days to draft. Yeah, let's go, guys and girls. Yeah, I can't wait for these 8 days to come by. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to you, Kristen. Thank you for jumping in. More excuses for Dak. Joe Burrow almost won the Super Bowl with no offensive line. So he needed help, right? So if he had the offensive line, he would have won the Super Bowl. Or should you look into this thing and say, all right, we're going to continue to do things without him, without the offensive line, and expect him to do it all by himself? And last I checked, almost don't count. You know, when we pull up the Super Bowl trophies, we have 5 of them staring back at us. Cincinnati, they're looking at an empty shelf, and they've been waiting for over 30 years, right? since the last time they've been in the Super Bowl. But you don't hear their fan base whining and complaining and crying about, hey, it's been 31 years and now 32 years. You don't hear that, right? They don't know what it feels like to even look at the greatness of legacies, of winning Super Bowls. They don't know that. Boomer Esiason was their best quarterback ever, right? Or was it Carson Palmer? Well, I'm leaving out a quarterback. Oh, it was Andy Dalton. Now it's him. Those were his expectations. Joe Burrow, I love the fact that Joe Burrow can throw every ball out there on the field. But playing in Cincinnati land is a whole lot different than playing in Cowboys country. Being on the brightest of the brightest shot lights and spotlights of everything. Being compared to the legacies of Roger Staubach, right? All floor is Danny White. That would have been their ceiling over there in Cincinnati world. And on top of that, we've seen greatness before. Getting all the way to the Super Bowl. Dan Marino to never return. At the end of the day, we don't know what he would have looked like without T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, right? We don't know what he would have looked like without a Joe. Look, the same terrible offensive line that they had, they still had a 1,000-yard rusher, right? Joe Mixon. He ain't nobody to sneeze at, right? So how terrible were they really, right? So should Joe Mixon get some of the credit for running and rushing those yards there? So it goes both ways. Deebo to the Eagles, that would be too funny. Yeah, that would be too funny. Yeah, I feel you on that. Speaking of that, speaking of guys going to other teams, let's listen in to the audio.
And
Bob.
how many teams did you end up chit-chatting with?
Bob. I had to reach out to all of them because
You
I had
did.
to.
You're the one who called.
I sent a text. So NFLPA had this I guess like when agents do it or when teams do it, the GMs have the list of all the players, and next to the player's name is agent. So I'm pretty sure my name was blank. So I got a list of all the GMs, and I text them and just let them know that I was still representing myself, and this is how they could reach me. And so I talked with a few that day when some of them text back that first day, and then a lot of them had to I guess they had to check to see if that was actually me. Like they text, they was like I had a couple of them text me the next day like, hey, like sorry for the late response. We had to confirm. We thought this was a joke. Like we didn't think that you were actually texting us from your cell phone. And so
Did somebody ask like a question? Like when I once upon a time met you at the Combine, what did you say to this answer?
No,
Like, to
they didn't do
make
that.
sure
They just was like up front. They were like, yeah, like we didn't think we had to confirm the identity of this text message before we responded.
That's amazing.
And I didn't even think about that. I just thought like, you get a text message from me, you're just going to assume it's me. But I forgot that,
There's crazy people in
It's
the
the
world,
crazy
Bobby
people in the
Wagner.
world.
There are crazy people.
which is kind of
No doubt. So this is Bobby Wagner on Rich Eisen's show, and I'm going to play a little bit more of it until they get to the Cowboys conversation, and then I'm going to go give you guys my analysis on that. There's B Wags. Yeah, so basically he represent himself as his own agent. I think as well as Lamar Jackson, his mom represent him. So we can pretty much get the cusp of how these guys' contract come out. But it is what it is. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. And we get into more details. I see some people are talking about Joe Burrows, right? And granted, Joe Burrow is pretty much a talented quarterback, especially coming off of that injury. He deserved to be listed as one of those guys, comeback player of the year, and he deserved to get those accolades of taking pretty much all the things that he had to go through to get to where they went to, right? Especially accounting for the organization and how they structure things, right? However, you can't you can't miss out on the fact that there were other people part of the party, right? So when you say carry a team, the only time an individual can carry something is when it's only him, when it's not a team sport. We don't know what Michael Jordan looked like without Pippen, right? And I'm not taking away the legacy and the greatness of Mike, right? But he don't have a ring without Pippen. But would you still view him the same without those rings? If he played for another team without Pippen, without the good coach? Huh? We got a teaspoon of an opportunity to see Troy on the front end of his career without Emmett. That record was 1-15. I don't know what Troy would have looked like his full year without Emmett. But I'm going to tell you, it wouldn't have been a pretty sight. Right? We don't know what Troy looked like without Emmett and the playmaker trying to contend and go to the Super Bowl, right? And without that massive offensive line. So we can go on and on and on. John Elway at the time, people were banging on the table. Most of you guys are too young to remember. But John Elway, generational talent, right? Throw the ball way better than Troy. Oh, he got to have multiple Super Bowls. Never could get over the hump. Got dog whooped by the Washington team. And then they hit them. You know, less is more, meaning less is more of you throwing the ball everywhere. And let's put you behind TD. Let's put this good defense in front of you, right? And let's grind it out. And then eventually, John Elway got him 2 rings. But newsflash, he didn't do it by himself. He didn't. But the team was wise enough, right? To say, hey, we're going to formulate an offense, an offensive line. And yeah, Greg Berry, he forever will be the GOAT now. Forever be the GOAT. But coming close don't put you in the forever stage, right? Jim Kelly, dominant defense. You can't talk about that defense, right? And you can't dismiss the weapons that he had in of course, Thurman Thomas, right? A replicate of what the 90s Cowboys were all about, right? Defense, playing sound defense, and then, of course, they were more of an air raid attack. They got nothing to show for it. Nobody say, hey. Some people will say that Jim Kelly will always be a GOAT, right? They would say that. But he's still looking back at the 4 Super Bowls that he's been in and saying, dog, man, I couldn't carry the team. No, he wouldn't say that. It's a team. Together, everyone achieves more.
Funny though, because the alternative of that, I had got some text messages or phone calls like, "Hey, yo, like we're interested," and I'm just like, "This sounds like a little kid on the phone." But like I had to answer every phone call.
Baby.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Because you don't know. I didn't have every GM's number saved, and so I'm answering all the phone calls, and I get one from. And as soon as the person says, like, "Hey, we're interested in signing you," and I'm like, "This is a little kid. There's no way this is."
Well, it's maybe somebody from the analytics department. I don't know.
Yeah,
just reaching out to start the
they didn't have no pitch in their voice for sure. They definitely like 12 years old.
Would you say talk to Bill? Is that what you're saying?
He's a
Patriot fan over there.
I didn't talk to Bill.
God dang it!
I have so much respect for Bill though. I think it's mutual though. Coach Belichick.
Oh, I know that for sure. I'm sure it's that. I'm sure it's mutual. But you could tell what Jerry Jones sounds like, right? I mean, you could
for sure. I'm just saying, like, there's certain people you know what their voice sound like, but this person kid, right. I knew he didn't know the first thing about being.
Because that was the first thing I thought of is that Dan Quinn is in Dallas. You and Dan Quinn obviously were on the same team, winning a championship together, and that was going to be the place that you wound up. Was that?
Yeah, we had conversations. He was you're right. He was one of the first people that reached out, and we had a lot of conversations. But they couldn't. They didn't really figure it out. From a financial situation, but also they had other needs that they wanted to address first, and they addressed those needs.
Okay.
All right, so I'm glad that he brought that point up, Cowboy Nation. I really appreciate everybody for jumping in. And if you're on my Facebook panel, I just uploaded the Facebook feed. I appreciate you guys' patience. I didn't think that I thought I had squeezed that trigger, but I didn't. So if you're on the Facebook group, appreciate you. I apologize for the delay. But look for, if around the notification time, around this time, 1 o'clock, I'm free normally throughout the day. So normally I'll jump live around 1. So see if you can get your schedules around 1 Central Texas time, basically. But neither here nor there. For those who just now tuning in, we're talking about the missed opportunities right now of B-Wags and how the whole process went through. And shout out to Rich Eisen for giving us some details of this. So basically, B-Wags, he was like, yeah, the Cowboys did pretty much reached out or what have you, or more so of Dan Quinn, but they had other needs. Now, the other needs that they're talking about, the Cowboys were going back and forth with Randy Gregory. We know what happened with that. On top of that, the Cowboys were going back and forth with not La'el Collins. I think it was at the time good Lord, y'all charge it to my head, not my heart. DeMarcus Lawrence, and we saw how that all unfold, right? They wanted to give him a $10 million extension, and it ended up being $40 million because he signed the extended part, and he said, no, I'm not signing the 10. And they read up LVE and Dorrance Armstrong after the whole fiasco happened with Randy Gregory. And another thing was, I believe around this time frame, that they was going back and forth with, do you release Cooper or not? I think that was the time frame. I could be off, but let's listen to more.
Okay, I know you're looking directly at me, but I'm seeing past you to my guy TJ Jefferson, who's a diehard Cowboy fan. He is so upset right now. He just heard you say.
And it's crazy though, because I'm not really active like so much on social media, but every single day, like I was getting hit up by Dallas fans and telling me like where I could eat, where I could live. Who's been there? How nice would it be to have a star on the top of your helmet? It was.
I'm sorry for bothering you, Bobby. All those tweets. That was.
Y'all remember I said, hey, y'all reach out to Bobby Wags on Twitter and share the video. Let them know, man, what places to go eat, what good places to go live at in Dallas or what have you. And it wasn't enough. We did our part though, Cowboy Nation. Greg Berry, Brian, Sadiqua, Uncle Charles, Brian again, and Gina, y'all did y'all part, right? Y'all reached out to Bobby. Y'all said, hey, come on, man, come on to Dallas. And shout out to everybody that's on the Facebook right about now. David and Desmond Bell, appreciate you. We did our part. But as far as the checkbook and everything, that's up to the Jones family. And like he said, they had other options. Now, here's the thing. In our mind, like in our mindset, we were looking at it like, okay, you got Parsons, right? And I think the other guy that I was leaving out was J-Ron Curse, right? And, of course, the whole fiasco with Dalton Schultz, he's pretty much getting the money that you would have paid if you would have paid Bobby Wags. But that's a whole story of a different day. I'm going to break down Dalton Schultz maybe another day. But neither here nor there. Shout out to J. Lombardi. We did our part. We banged on the table saying, hey, think about this, Jones family. You then got a legitimate linebacker that you can put inside the middle. He can cover the hook. He can cover the flat, C control, and he can squeeze down into the B gap. You don't have to worry about that on third down situation. You can keep him in the hook area or the middle of the field, and then you can kick Parsons down inside.
Were any from @2Jiggy?
No, I didn't get no @2Jiggy.
I got a bunch of burners. I apologize. Yeah. We just really wanted you.
That's funny.
So when did the Rams come into the picture, Bobby? When did that happen?
Rams was kind of always in the picture, to be honest.
From
because, obviously we play each other a lot, and so and they know I'm from Cali, so they they reached out early on too, but it was the same thing for a minute. They were trying to figure out. They had certain needs that they wanted to address and things of that nature, and I was in a position where I was patient. I wasn't like in a rush to try to sign somewhere, because I knew, like, I'm hoping that, you know, wherever I sign next was going to be the place I spent majority of my career as I, you know, wind this thing down. So I wanted to take my time and make sure that I picked the right place, and, you know, who doesn't want to come home?
Of course, no question about that.
And I get to be on the Rich Eisen show like every week.
This is the cherry on top.
I mean, you could just put Rich and then just put Bobby right
at
there.
B-Wags?
Yeah,
Tuesday guest spot. I mean, I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Listen, you look. You're welcome here anytime. And now you also remember what LA traffic is. It's, you know, sometimes Rams are like, they want a helicopter to come from Thousand Oaks.
I mean, this is very true, because I was
about to say,
Seattle was getting pretty bad too, though.
Understood.
Seattle was getting.
Trust me, Dallas traffic is getting crazy too. You know, you get stuck on the 75, or you get stuck on, depending on where you're going, and the tollway. Oh my gosh, George Bush Turnpike, boy, baby, you be forever be like, man, come on, man. And then for some reason, I probably need to switch my service from Verizon to AT&T, because I think AT&T got a lock on the city as far as services. When I go to Arlington, Green Bay, Grand Prairie area with Verizon, it don't work. I'm in the Verizon store, Cowboy Nation. Just a quick story. And my phone don't work in the Verizon store. I'm sitting there like, come on, man. This supposed to be Verizon. But it is what it is. Shout out to everybody, and shout out to all the Verizon people.
Nothing matches California.
No, I know that.
Because it could be midnight. It could be midnight, and you might get stuff in
It's
traffic.
a time-insensitive roadway, that 405.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what time it is. I understand. Did Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, anybody call you
That's
up?
what I
Yeah, they reached out. I mean, as soon as I got released, I think AD was the first person,
Was
one
he
of the
not?
first players,
Of
to reach
course he
out.
was.
And Jalen was like shortly after him. So
I can't imagine what Aaron Donald, will be able to do in front of you and you behind him. I cannot even imagine how, you know, his job to take up space, to apply pressure, to stop the run on the way to the quarterback, how great he is. For you now to be behind him is downright scary.
I'm excited. Like I'm excited just thinking about it, because I again, he's a guy that I've watched, you know, for a lot of years, because we play each other so much, and, you know, I watch film on him too, and so I see the way that he plays and moves and things like that, and how he takes up blocks, and, you know, I know that I'll be able to read off of that and play off of that really well. And so just the idea of being able to do that, and it's not just him. Like, there's so many different weapons on that D line,
right.
And, you know, to be able to play behind that, and, you know, read and feel and get into a flow, it's going to be crazy.
Chris,
All right, so that was Bobby Wags. He's talking about reading off of Aaron Donald and playing off of that. And linebacker's position is to read, write this down. I call it the 3 R's, or RRE. Read, react, and explode. You want to read, get a good feel, react, and then explode, to your point. And could the Cowboys find somebody like that in this draft? Yeah, I mean, I'm quite sure. I've seen people talk about the Kobe Dean of the world, right? We talked about this last night on the Final Word. Like, people like Tyndall, right? If you look at any of the Georgia linebackers, those boys fly. They read, they react, and they explode to the point. Why and how are they able to do that? Oh, the front four. The front. When you have trenches, people that get it dirty for you, you know, get it nasty, your linebackers are able to fly, run, chase, hit. And that's the belief that the Cowboys need to do. Shout out to you, John. Thank you for jumping in. Cowboys experience all day. Appreciate you, John. Be sure if you're in the Dallas area, we will have a draft party next week, and I can't wait to see y'all beautiful faces at the Walk-Ons, Las Carolinas Walk-Ons in Dallas. So I can't wait to see y'all there. Dean or Moma, this is from Jay Lombardi. Dean would have to be a first-round pick. That's just the bottom line. He would not be hanging around the 56th pick. Muma will be there. But don't sleep on the philosophy of like a Leo Chanel. Don't sleep on that. You know, that guy explodes to the ball. He react, and explode. I do like Brian Asamoah. I like his skill set too. He got similar ability, but he don't have that height range that the Cowboys be looking for, unfortunately. Let me see what we have here. Law, you know damn well we don't want Deebo Samuel. It's from my guy Iceberg Slim. We don't look. I don't want him at $28 million. No, and for dog sure, I refuse. And let me tell you, because I think you're just not jumping in. I don't want this kid for $24 to $25 million, right? And the scrutiny that comes with that. The 49ers, look, I would pick up Deebo Samuel, only if it comes with one of the coaching staff from that team. Like, it got to come with Kyle Shanahan as the coach as well. And maybe you can insert him as the offensive coordinator. I thought that there's no salary cap as it relates to coaching, right? So if the Jones family really looking at this thing saying, okay, we got endless amount of money, then, yeah, we'll pick up Deebo. We'll take their head coach too. We'll buy them out all together, wholesale changes. That's the only way. Because you guys right now talking about CeeDee Lamb's drops, I think CeeDee had like 7 to 8 drops last season. If you look at Deebo and his 12 drops on national TV, he had 12 drops. That's a lot of drops. 4 fumbles last year. You would not want that. Trust me, Cowboy Nation. In this style and brand of offense, you don't. You don't. Unless you bring in that coach over here, Kyle Shanahan. And normally, for those who don't know, it was more of the McDaniel kid that did all of the nuances with the attention to Deebo. And he's going to Miami. And that's the reality of it. He's electric and will sell tickets. That's my guy, Chris Davis. Yeah, he would sell tickets. He would flat out sell tickets. But at $25 to $26 million, plus you have to give the 49ers draft picks or what have you.
Do you have the NFL rulebook in front of you? Is this fair? Can you look this up?
It is fair. I looked.
Yeah, Section 8, sub A.
Is this fair?
Yeah,
No.
it's not fair.
Article 45.
Yeah, Article 45.
That's true. Well, you know your business. I mean,
Yeah, Article
who are we
45,
talking
so
to?
we're all
It's
good.
Doesn't seem fair.
It doesn't. It does not seem fair.
Although as a Rams season ticket holder, very happy to have you
There you
here.
go.
Very happy to have you.
No way. It's not going to happen, Cowboy Nation. It's not.